20,000 years ago, snow could erase you within minutes. Not your body first, but every clue leading safely home. Our fictional hunter Kalan is the group's most confident tracker. He reads grass, hoofprints, wind, and distant animal calls carefully. Today, the landscape will erase every language Kalan understands completely. No maps, radios, forecast, or lights exist after sunset there. Only memory, clothing, fire, shelter, and searching companions remain behind. One wrong choice wastes heat his body cannot replace quickly. The most dangerous moment may feel strangely peaceful and safe. This reconstruction begins near the end of the glacial maximum. Kalan's group shelters beneath limestone overlooking the frozen open steppe. Food remains scarce after several days of unsuccessful hunting attempts. Fresh reindeer tracks appear before the morning sky fully brightens. Kalan follows them alongside two experienced hunters from his group. Nara warns Kalan that the wind is beginning to change. He notices yet believes the hunt will remain short today. 3 hunters leave carrying spears, hides, and basic fire-making tools. For hours, hoofprints lead them across hard wind-polished snowfields steadily. One reindeer separates and descends into a shallow nearby valley. The hunters divide, hoping to guide it toward their ambush. Kalan circles alone beside a long exposed limestone wall. The first snowflakes arrive so lightly he barely notices them. Within minutes, the opposite ridge starts fading into gray mist. Wind lifts loose snow and throws it horizontally across everything. Kalan turns back, but his companions have already disappeared completely. The world contracts into a white circle several steps wide. He shouts their names, but wind tears his voice apart. Kalan chooses direction using what only feels like remembered terrain. Humans naturally drift when all visual reference points disappear completely. Kalan walks faster, trying to escape uncertainty through constant movement. Each step creates heat while carrying him farther from camp. He finds tracks and follows them with sudden hopeful relief. Then he realizes those tracks belong to his own boots. He has unknowingly completed one enormous circle through the storm. Panic strikes Kalan harder than the cold surrounding him outside. His breathing accelerates, while thoughts become narrow and painfully repetitive. Kalan forces himself to kneel behind a low protective stone. Stopping feels like surrender, but uncontrolled wandering remains far worse. He checks everything still attached across his belt and shoulders. Flint, pyrite, dry fiber, cord, fold hide, and spear remain. The exact equipment is reconstructed, though each item remains plausible. He also carries a small piece of fat-rich dried meat. Kalan turns from the wind and studies the moving snow. The slope below descends toward a narrow, frozen stream channel. Cold air settles in low ground, making that route dangerous. Higher ground offers visibility but exposes him to stronger winds. Kalan chooses a shallow depression beside the limestone wall nearby. His first goal is simply surviving long enough for rescue. He clears loose snow until frozen earth becomes visible underneath. Then he lays folded hide between himself and frozen ground. Direct contact with frozen soil would steal heat continuously there. He stacks snow and stones into a low curved windbreak. He pulls fur layers tightly around his neck and waist. Melting snow starts dampening the outside of his clothing layers. Kalan brushes snow away before it can melt deeper inside. His fingers are becoming clumsy, numb, and painfully stiff already. Now he attempts the most important uncertain, making fire. Flint strikes pyrite, producing sparks that vanish almost immediately outside. The wind steals one ember before he can feed it. He shields the tinder with his body and tries again. Repeated failures consume strength, time, and feeling in his hands. One spark finally catches deep inside the dark tinder bundle. Kalan breathes gently, resisting the urge to blow too hard. A faint orange glow becomes one fragile crawling flame. Small twigs catch, then thicker fuel begins producing steady heat. Fire transforms the shelter from hiding place into visible signal. But smoke disappears quickly into the white air above him. Back at camp, Kalan's companions return without him that evening. Nara organizes a search while some daylight still remains outside. They carry hides, burning material, spears, and long cords together. Searchers travel in pairs so nobody else disappears alone there. They mark their route using dark branches pressed into snow. Even those markers begin vanishing beneath fresh accumulations soon afterward. Meanwhile, Kalan's shivering becomes violent, exhausting, and completely uncontrollable now. Shivering generates warmth but burns energy at a frightening rate. He eats the small meat portion despite feeling badly nauseated. Darkness arrives without any visible sunset behind the violent storm. Kellen adds fuel carefully, terrified of exhausting it too quickly. He warms his torso instead of pressing hands into flame. His feet hurt, then gradually become disturbingly numb and heavy. He refuses removing his boots to inspect them outside shelter. Exposed skin could freeze even faster within the blowing wind. Hours pass while firelight and white darkness alternate before him. Then Kellen notices something that feels deceptively like improvement happening. His violent shivering slows down and eventually stops completely now. He smiles weakly, believing his body has finally become warmer. But severe cooling can stop shivering when energy starts failing. His thoughts soften and the storm suddenly feels less threatening. He imagines hearing his mother's voice beyond the windbreak nearby. Kellen begins rising, convinced camp waits only steps away outside. Then he sees his bone pendant lying beside the fire. It reminds him of Nara's warning before leaving the camp. He grips the pendant and crawls back beneath protective hide. Far away, searchers discover where the hunter's trail divided earlier. One branch leads campward, another disappears completely into whiteness nearby. Nara notices a repeating curve within Kalan's partly buried footprints. The circle reveals panic but also his last clear position. Searchers spread within shouting distance and move against the wind. Then someone smells smoke before anybody can see its source. They follow the scent toward a sheltered limestone depression nearby. Kalan barely reacts when familiar silhouettes enter the firelight suddenly. The group replaces damp outer coverings with dry protective hides. They insulate him below and warm his torso very gradually. Kalan is handled carefully because deep cold makes movement dangerous. Nobody celebrates yet. Finding him is only the first victory. They wait until his awareness and mild shivering begin returning. Then they carry him on a hide stretcher toward camp. By morning, the storm weakens and the landscape reappears slowly. Kalan survives, though several toes remain painful for many weeks. Archaeology cannot identify one specific prehistoric whiteout survival protocol confidently. Humans occupied extremely cold environments long before Kalan's fictional story. Paleolithic needles and hide tools support sophisticated clothing production methods. Hearths, shelters planning, and cooperation made cold landscapes survivable together. Flint and pyrite firemaking is plausible, not proven for Kalan's exact group. Modern hypothermia science explains shivering, confusion, and dangerous calm clearly. Bones may preserve survival, but rarely the choices behind it. Kalan survives because he stops wandering before panic spends everything. He also survives because his group enters the storm searching. In the Ice Age, cooperation may have been strongest shelter. Next time, spoiled meat threatens an entire prehistoric camp together.
20,000 years ago, a broken leg was never just painful. It could erase your future before the sun went down. Our fictional hunter is called Aaron, young, fast, and overconfident. This morning, he believes his strongest weapon is his own body. By nightfall, that body may become an impossible burden. There are no hospitals, x-rays, painkillers, or emergency vehicles. There is only knowledge, luck, and the patience of others. And the worst danger may not be the broken bone. It may be what happens when your group must choose. Do they carry you home or keep moving without you? Arn follows fresh hoofprints across a cold limestone valley. His hunting party needs meat before the next hard freeze. Every empty hand means less food for children and elders. Then Arn spots movement beyond a narrow rocky ledge. He signals silently, certain the animal cannot escape him. One careful step becomes one step too far. Loose gravel rolls beneath his heel like tiny marbles. His balance vanishes before his mind understands the danger. Arn falls, strikes the slope, and tumbles behind the rocks. The valley answers with one short, unforgettable cracking sound. For several seconds, Arn feels almost nothing at all. Then pain floods upward, hot, sharp, and completely overwhelming. His lower leg bends where no leg should ever bend. He tries to rise, but the world flashes white. Now the hunt is over and survival has begun. His companions hear him, but reaching him costs precious time. The wounded animal is escaping, and daylight is already fading. One hunter watches the tracks, another watches Arn's face. Their decision takes seconds, but changes every life involved. They abandon the hunt and climb down toward him. First, they stop Arn from twisting the injured leg. Movement could worsen the damage and tear hidden tissue. They check for heavy bleeding, but find none outside. Arn shakes violently, partly from cold, partly from shock. His friends wrap him in fur before moving anything. They speak calmly because panic spreads faster than fire. One companion grips Arn's hand during every painful adjustment. Another studies the slope and plans the safest route home. Nobody knows whether Arn will survive the journey. 2 straight branches are cut from a nearby young tree. Soft moss and folded hide become rough protective padding. The branches are placed beside the leg, not directly underneath. Leather strips hold everything still without crushing the swollen limb. This splint is a cautious reconstruction, not proven certainty. But immobilization would give Arn his best possible chance. The group builds a carrier from poles and animal hide. 4 people lift together while Arn bites down on leather. Every uneven step sends pain through his entire body. And every pause steals warmth from the approaching evening. A shadow moves across the ridge above the exhausted group. Predators notice weakness, blood scent, and people moving slowly. The hunters raise spears while continuing toward the distant shelter. Arn cannot fight, run, or even hide by himself. For the fuckers, his survival belongs completely to others. They reach the cave just as freezing rain begins. Inside, firelight reveals swelling spreading around the fracture. The healer does not possess magic, only experience and observation. She checks warmth, color, feeling, and movement in Arn's foot. The bindings are loosened slightly as the swelling increases. More moss is added to prevent rubbing and skin damage. Arn receives warm broth, water, and tiny pieces of meat. Pain steals his appetite, but healing demands enormous energy. That first night feels longer than an entire winter. Every time Arn sleeps, sudden pain drags him awake. He fears the bone will pierce through his skin. He fears fever, infection, predators, and becoming useless forever. But his deepest fear is visible in everyone's silence. How long can the group afford to protect him? Morning brings no miracle, only swelling and exhaustion. The hunters leave again, now carrying 1 fewer spear. Someone must remain behind to keep Arn warm and hydrated. That choice reduces the food gathered for everyone else. Days pass measured by firewood, meals, and waves of pain. The leg stays elevated on bundled hides whenever possible. The splint is checked repeatedly as swelling slowly changes. Too loose and the bones move, too tight, circulation suffered. Nobody can see whether the broken ends are properly aligned. Arn's body begins building a temporary bridge around the fracture. Soft repair tissue gradually becomes a harder protective callus. This process takes weeks, not a dramatic single night. Meanwhile, Arn loses muscle because he cannot walk or hunt. His companions bring stones so he can shape new spear points. Work gives Arn usefulness to distraction and a reason to endure. He teaches a child how to strike flakes safely. The injured hunter slowly becomes a teacher beside the fire. His value changes, but it does not disappear. That psychological shift may be as important as the splint. After several weeks, the pain becomes duller and less constant. Then comes a dangerous temptation, trying to stand too early. Arn grabs a wooden staff and pushes himself upright. His healthy leg trembles beneath his suddenly reduced strength. The injured foot touches earth and pain explodes again. He collapses safely into waiting arms, furious with himself. Recovery is not a straight path, it advances and retreats. Several more days pass before the next careful attempt. This time, 2 companions support his shoulders from both sides. Arn takes one uneven step, then another, then stops. The entire cave reacts as if a great hunt succeeded. Walking returns slowly, but the old speed does not. The leg heals slightly shortened and angled from its original line. Arn develops a limp that may follow him forever. Yet a limp is evidence of something extraordinary, survival. Months later, Arn can gather plants and set small traps. He no longer leads chases across dangerous stone ridges. Instead, he repairs tools and studies animal movement near camp. The accident reshapes his role, not simply his skeleton. Archaeologists sometimes find ancient bones that healed after severe trauma. Those bones are survival, although not every detail of treatment. Some injured prehistoric people lived for years with serious impairments. That survival strongly suggests support and shared resources. Even more remarkably, a survived limb amputation. That operation occurred about 31,000 years ago. The individual lived several more years after the procedure. But Arne's exact splint, healer, and recovery remain informed reconstruction. Science must separate what bones reveal from what stories imagine. A broken leg 20,000 years ago was a social emergency. Your body needed time, but time had to be donated. Food, warmth, protection, and patience became prehistoric medicine. The greatest treatment may have been refusing to leave someone behind. Because before hospitals existed, survival sometimes began with loyalty.
A tiny cut could prove fatal 20 millennia ago. Not from weakness, but because dangerous bacteria remained invisible. Our fictional survivor Nara is a skilled young flint worker. She lacks antibiotics, antiseptics, stitches, and any germ theory. Only immunity and shared knowledge stand between life and death. At first, Nara's injury looks almost disappointingly small indeed. Then hidden changes make everyone fear the worst outcome. Because wounds threaten not only the person carrying them. They delay migration, divide entire groups. This cautious reconstruction begins during one bitter winter morning. Nara's camp prepares meat before the coming storm arrives. Every dried strip may decide who survives until spring. Nara shapes a razor-sharp flake beside a stone core. Its edge is finer than many modern metal tools. She strikes again while watching hunters crossing the valley. Her attention shifts away for less than one heartbeat. The flint slips, cutting deeply across her left forearm. For one strange second, Nara feels pressure, not pain. Then blood runs quickly across her wrist hand. Conversation stops as everyone turns toward her sudden movement. The wound looks short, but depth matters far more. Nara still moves every finger, offering everyone cautious hope. A companion presses folded hide firmly against the wound. Nara looks away, breathing rapidly as pain finally arrives. They maintain steady pressure without repeatedly lifting the covering. Her arm stays raised while Nara sits near ground. Slowly, the red stain stops spreading across the hide. If a major vessel ruptured, her story might end. But bleeding slows, giving everyone one narrow second chance. We cannot know exactly how such wounds were treated. The group chooses the clearest available water near camp. It is not sterile, but visible grit needs removal. Water carries tiny stone fragments away from injured skin. They lack germ theory, yet experience can guide behavior. Nara clenches her jaw while others examine the injury. The edges separate whenever she bends wrist or elbow. A clean dry pad covers the damaged forearm carefully. Soft hide wraps firmly around it without crushing pressure. The healer checks Nara's fingers for warmth and color. By evening, bleeding stops and confidence begins returning slowly. Nara assumes danger has ended because pain feels quieter. But silent wounds do not always mean true safety. The camp needs workers, and Nara hates seeming helpless. At sunrise, she resumes scraping hides beside everyone else. Repeated motion pulls the fragile wound edges apart again. The wrapping becomes damp, dirty, and rubbed against remains. Microscopic invaders now find easier entry beneath her skin. Bacteria multiply within warmth, moisture, and damaged tissue quickly. Nara cannot see invasion, but her immune system can. Defensive cells rush toward wounds through widening blood vessels. Skin becomes red as blow rises around it. Swelling follows, making the wrapping feel unexpectedly tight now. The injured area grows warmer than surrounding healthy skin. By night, each heartbeat brings deep throbbing pain again. Nara hides her arm beneath fur and says nothing. Admitting weakness feels more frightening than the wound itself. Her mind treats pain like an enemy worth ignoring. But pain carries information, and its message grows louder. She sleeps badly, sweating beside a dying campfire nearby. Morning reveals stiffness spreading from wrist toward elbow slowly. Removing the covering reveals cloudy fluid staining the pad. Fever rises as her whole body joins the fight. She shivers violently despite sitting close beside bright flames. Now everyone understands this is no ordinary small cut. The elder studies Nara's face, breathing, wound, and alertness. Some want moving camp before the storm traps them. Others refuse, forcing Nara onward while fever weakens her. Infection may remain local or spread throughout the body. No one can know which future has already begun. Survival depends partly on immunity and unpredictable luck too. It also depends on water, calories, warmth, and rest. Every drink requires carrying while someone gathers extra firewood. Every meal for Nara reduces another person's winter reserve. Prehistoric healthcare becomes a chain of difficult social decisions. The healer unwraps Nara's arm beneath bright firelight again. No magical plant can guarantee defeating such an infection. The wound is rinsed cautiously and protected from dirt. Swollen tissue traps painful pressure beneath the closing surface. If pressure remains, infection may continue spreading farther upward. Opening the trapped pocket might help, but risks harm. This exact procedure is informed reconstruction, never archaeological proof. Nara understands waiting may also become equally dangerous now. She grips a companion's hand and silently nods once. The healer intervenes carefully using one sharp stone flake. Cloudy fluid escapes, reducing pressure inside the swollen wound. The area is rinsed, then covered with fresh material. Nara remains conscious, but exhaustion pulls her towards sleep. That night, fever climbs higher before gradually falling again. She dreams the camp leaves while she cannot stand. Awakening, she finds still feeding the fire nearby. A child places Nara's bone near her hand. Hunters return late carrying less meat than needed today. An elder gives Nara part of his own portion. This medicine consists of loyalty, calories, warmth, and time. At dawn, Nara's eyes clear and violent shaking slows. That improvement encourages everyone, but victory remains uncertain still. For days, they watch, clean, and rewrap her wound. Redness slowly retreats instead of climbing farther up arm. New tissue begins filling gaps beneath damaged skin gradually. A thick, uneven scar forms across Nara's left forearm. Nara survives, though her grip stays weak for weeks. She practices small tools before lifting heavier stone cores. Companions adjust tasks so work never reopens the wound. Eventually, Nara shapes another flake using slower movements safely. The accident changes habits without ending her usefulness entirely. Soft tissue rarely survives long enough for archaeological examination. If infection reaches bone, detectable changes may remain afterward. Healed injuries show prehistoric people survived serious trauma sometime. One Borneo individual survived lower leg amputation long before Nara. That operation occurred roughly 31,000 years ago there. The individual lived years afterward, implying sustained community care. Neanderthal dental calculus preserved traces of bitter plants too. Those traces may reflect diet or possible self-medication only. Evidence shows possibilities. Reconstruction turns them into human stories. We cannot know Nara's exact bandage, healer, or scar. But survival clearly demanded more than toughness alone ever. It required immunity, experience, resources, and extraordinary luck together. Most importantly, people refused to abandon Nara during illness. One tiny cut reveals prehistoric cooperation's enormous life-saving power. Next, a whiteout separates one hunter from everyone else.
20,000 years ago, one bad tooth could turn dinner into a fight for survival. There was no dentist, no anesthesia, no pharmacia, and absolutely no emergency room. But the worst part was not the pain. It was what might happen next. Imagine you are eating beside a fire during the coldest stretch of the Ice Age. Your name is Aaron, and your group has not eaten properly for 2 days. Tonight, someone has brought back a strip of frozen reindeer meat. It is smoky, tough, grittier, and to you it smells like a feast. You bite down with your back teeth and hear a tiny, sickening crack. For half a heartbeat, nothing happens. Then white pain fills your entire skull. You drop the meat. Everyone looks at you. Something inside your tooth has broken. The pain fades quickly enough that you convince yourself it is over. You chew on the other side, slower now, pretending that nothing happened. Then warm fat touches the cracked tooth euros, and the lightning returns. You do not know the word nerve, but your body understands the warning. Something that should have remained sealed is now exposed to the outside world. You might imagine Ice Age humans had perfect teeth because they ate no candy. In some ways, their diet did protect them from the cavities common today. But no candy did not mean no dental problems, not even close. Every meal could contain sand, ash, fragments of stone, or powdered bone. Stone-ground plants could wear teeth down, like weak sandpaper, bite after bite. People also used their mouths as tools for gripping hides, fibers, and sinew. Over years, enamel could flatten, crack, and expose the softer dentine below. Aaron's tooth may already have been weakened by thousands of brutally abrasive meals, or decay may have begun inside a groove where food repeatedly became trapped. Bacteria consumed carbohydrates and produced acids that slowly dissolved the tooth. Hunter-gatherers could develop severe decay, especially when eating carbohydrate-rich wild plants. At Tafarot in Morocco, ancient foragers suffered surprisingly high levels of cavities. Their plant-rich diet probably gave oral bacteria plenty of fermentable material. So Aaron's pain is not impossible. It is an ancient human problem. And tonight, the protective fortress around his tooth has finally been breached. At first, the tooth only hurts when something hot, cold, or hard touches it. That sounds manageable, but the crack is now collecting microscopic pieces of food. Saliva carries bacteria deep into spaces your tongue cannot possibly clean. Aaron pushes the tooth with his finger, immediately regretting the experiment. He rinses with water, but the cold sends another shock through his face. He tries chewing a soft piece of marrow on the healthy side. This works euros until his upper and lower teeth accidentally meet. As darkness falls, the pain changes from sharp flashes to a steady pulse. His heartbeat seems to have moved into his jaw. Thump, thump, thump. Lying down increases pressure around the inflamed tissue, making sleep almost impossible. He sits up. He walks. He presses snow against the outside of his cheek. The cold briefly dulls the sensation, but it does not repair the tooth. By dawn, Aaron has slept only in fragments of a few minutes each. He is irritable, slow, and already less useful to the people around him. In the Ice Age, losing concentration was not merely inconvenient. It was dangerous. The group must move before the weather traps them in the valley. Everyone carries food, hides, tools, fuel, or a child. Aaron carries pain. Each footstep sends a dull vibration through the inflamed tooth. He cannot chew dried meat, one of the group's most portable foods. He swallows softened pieces, but eating takes longer and gives him less energy. Hunger makes him weak. Pain makes him distracted. Sleeplessness makes both worse. During a hunt, he reacts a moment too late to a charging animal. Another hunter pulls him aside, just before a horn crosses his body. Now the tooth is no longer Aaron's private problem. It threatens the group. Yet, abandoning him would cost them knowledge, labor, and a trusted companion. Prehistoric survival depended on cooperation far more than solitary toughness. People cared for injured companions who could not immediately repay that care. Aaron's sister, Nara, decides they must examine the tooth properly. She waits for daylight, washes her hands, and chooses a thin wooden splinter. It is not dentistry as we know it. but it is observation, memory, and courage. Aaron sits with his back against a rock while two companions hold the light. Nara asks him to point to the pain, but he indicates his entire jaw. Tooth pain can radiate, making the true source surprisingly difficult to identify. She taps each tooth gently, watching his eyes and shoulders for a reaction. One touch makes his body jerk. They have found the enemy. The tooth is cracked, dark inside, and surrounded by angry red gum tissue. Something is stuck in it euros, perhaps meat, plant fiber, or a fragment of bone. Nara first uses the wooden sliver like a toothpick around the tooth. Humans had probably used simple picks for cleaning for an immense time. Ancient, sometimes for an immense time. Ancient teeth sometimes preserve grooves consistent with repeated toothpicking behavior. The splinter removes trapped fibers, and for one beautiful moment, pressure decreases. He smiles cautiously. Perhaps this tiny piece of wood has saved him. Then Nara touches the deeper cavity. Aaron nearly knocks her backward. The problem is not merely food between teeth. The tooth itself is diseased, and if the living tissue inside dies, the danger may travel beyond it. Over the next 2 days, bacteria push farther into Aaron's damaged tooth. His immune system attacks, creating inflammation inside a space that cannot expand. Pressure builds around nerves and blood vessels trapped within hard walls. That is why dental pain can become so intense it overwhelms every thought. Suddenly, the tooth stops responding to cold. Arn thinks he is recovering, but the silence may mean the pulp has died euro, not that the infection has vanished. Beneath the root, bacteria and immune cells begin producing a pocket of pus. The pressure returns, deeper now, especially whenever Aaron bites down. His gum swells, his breath changes. A bitter taste appears in his mouth. By evening, one side of his face is visibly larger than the other. This is the moment when a toothache becomes a potentially lethal infection. Without antibiotics, his body must contain the bacteria almost entirely by itself. If the infection stays localized and drains, he may survive. If it spreads into deeper spaces of the face and neck, breathing may become difficult. And if bacteria reach the bloodstream, the entire body can begin to fail. The group has no germ theory, yet generations of experience still matter. They know that swelling, heat, weakness, and foul-smelling wounds predict danger. They may try cool water, plant material, pressure, or smoke for temporary relief. Some plants could reduce pain or inflammation, but identifying them precisely is impossible. Other plants might do nothing at euro, or cause poisoning and make Aaron even sicker. So there was no universal magical ice age cure hidden in the forest. The most useful action may be physically releasing trapped pressure and removing decay. But attempting this means placing wood, bone, or sharp stone inside the mouth. A slip could cut his tongue, break the tooth, or push contamination deeper. Doing nothing is dangerous. Intervening is dangerous. They must choose. Nara remembers seeing a relative find relief after a swollen gum burst naturally. She concludes that the pressure inside Aaron's tooth must somehow be released. From fine stone flakes, she selects the narrowest, smoothest workable point. Archaeology shows later Paleolithic people really did manipulate cavities with stone tools. For Aaron, 20,000 years ago, this remains plausible euros, but not directly proven. Aaron understands only one thing. The pain cannot continue like this. He lies beside the fire with his head held between folded animal hides. One companion steadies his shoulders. Another gives him leather to grip. There is no injection to numb the nerve, and no sedative to erase fear. Nara cleans visible debris away and places the stone point inside the cavity. The first scrape sends pain through Aaron's jaw, ear, temple, and neck. His entire body tries to pull away, but the others keep him steady. Nara stops. If he moves suddenly, the tool could tear soft tissue. Aaron breathes, grips the leather, and signals for her to continue. She scrapes again, using tiny controlled movements, rather than forceful stabbing. Dark, softened material emerges from the cavity, mixed with blood and saliva. Then the tool reaches a deeper pocket of euro, and foul fluid suddenly escapes. The taste is disgusting. The smell makes everyone recoil, but pressure falls. Aaron is still in pain, yet the unbearable internal pounding has weakened. In this brutal moment, the difference between torture and relief is a stone splinter. The operation is over, but Aaron is nowhere near safe. The cavity is open, the tissue is damaged, and bacteria remain throughout the area. Nara keeps clearing material that collects near the opening, allowing continued drainage. Aaron drinks water and eats softened marrow, broth, and mashed plant food. Every calorie matters because fever forces his body to burn precious energy. That night he shivers under hides, even though his skin feels painfully hot. For hours, the group cannot know whether he will wake in the morning. His sister watches his breathing and repeatedly feels the swelling beneath his jaw. If it moves toward his neck, there may be almost nothing she can do. Near dawn, Aaron wakes soaked in sweat euros and asks weakly for water. His fever has not vanished, but the swelling is no longer growing. During the next day, more fluid drains and the pounding continues to fade. His immune system, age, the drainage, and simple luck may have saved his life. Another person with the same tooth might have weakened, suffocated, or died. Prehistoric medicine often ended not with certainty, but with a dangerous waiting game. After several days, Aaron stands again, though his face remains tender and bruised. The damaged tooth may remain open, fracture further, or eventually loosen and fall out. If it falls out cleanly, the pain may disappear euroed, but chewing becomes less efficient. Other teeth must absorb more force, increasing their own wear over many years. Aaron will avoid that side of his mouth long after the wound has healed. The experience also becomes knowledge that his group can carry into the future. Which tools were safest? Where did swelling form? What happened after drainage? Nothing is written down. Knowledge survives through demonstration, memory, and story. Thousands of years later, humans would drill teeth and even experiment with fillings. A 6,500-year-old tooth from Slovenia still preserves what appears to be beeswax. But Aaron lived long before fillings, clinics, antibiotics, or written medical instructions. His best technology was a sharp tool guided by another human being's careful hands. His best medicine was a group willing to feed, protect, and wait beside him. 20,000 years ago, a toothache could become a battle against pain, hunger, and infection. And sometimes, the reason you survived was simply that someone refused to leave you behind.